This is a ridiculously perfect example to talk about fear. Right now it's, what day is it? It's August 23rd. I think, yeah, yesterday was the earthquake, and today there were hurricanes, I guess somewhere in the world, and now tornado warnings for it just got quiet. For all over the place, the States and Canada. And so, first I want to say, if you see tornado warnings, it's not ridiculous to go seek shelter. It's not why I'm laughing and pondering. I'm laughing and pondering, not that I'm down here in the basement of the 3-story house that I live in. I live on the 2nd floor. What I'm laughing about is the fact that I'm just down here. I'm actually really frightened. I'm scared shitless, I'll just say it. And for no particular reason. Well, I shouldn't say that. For no exceptional reason. Like I heard they were touching down near me, or anything like that. It's just the warning is pretty much for all across Ontario, and very general. And so I find myself down here, which is fine, but I'm down here and I'm scared. And so it's a perfect opportunity to look at fear. And so the funny thing is, my whole life I've never hid anywhere when there was tornado warnings. I'd have in the back of my mind, my dad would say, get under something, or get in a doorway, or of course, I always, like a lot of us, I always confuse what's for earthquake and what's for tornado. I don't think for a tornado you're supposed to get in a bathtub, but I'm not sure about that. So yeah, I never did. This is the first time. 41 years, this is the first time. And so I wanted to take advantage of it. Instead of just sitting here cowering in the basement for a couple hours, I first started to try to meditate and calm myself and be in the moment and be present and clear out all negative thoughts as much as possible, or at the very least fear. So I was able to do that for the most part. So I'm much better now. Well, I'm really much better now because it seems to be easing off, but even when it was still going, and I faced my fear a little bit, because when it was really going, I was down here and realized I should film. So when it was really going, and the winds were really blowing, I went up, and there was lightning and thunder. I went up the metal fire escape quickly, fiddled with several doors to get into my apartment, because I have inner doors and outer doors. It's an old farmhouse. And so I have a sunroom, and I have to get through that door and then get into the kitchen. And then get past, kitties, which, I wish I could bring them down with me, but they'll be okay. That's what I figure. Cats are good at hiding under stuff. So I had to do all that, grab the camera, and get back down. And so, yeah, that was frightening, because the storm was really picking up. So basically, first, I tried to get in that peaceful place. And then contemplating fear, I decided, well, let's number one, examine it, share, and let's also test it. Test the fear by doing that. So, I had the going out during, the storm, not knowing if a tornado was coming, and then the flashes, not knowing if lightning could hit the fire escape. But of course, I'm fine. So so here I am thinking about fear. And so it begs the question, if I spent my whole life not being afraid, which is true, I'm rarely ever afraid of anything really. Why is it I'm so afraid now? And I've noticed this in a lot of parts of my life. Fear is really building. And right off the bat, we can just eliminate. You're probably thinking, wow, fear of death, you're getting older. I never feared death, and I still don't fear death. And that's true. What I fear, I guess will be two things, is what happens up to that point. I don't want it to be painful or too scary, but really it's the scary. What I really am afraid of is fear, and I've known that for a while now, and been trying to figure that one out. But that's really what in recent years I'm afraid of, is being afraid. And I've said it in a few videos, I think, and a few posts. There's that old analogy, or that old saying, there's nothing to fear but fear itself, and I think in the back of my mind I held on to that idea too tight, to a point where, because it's a good saying, but not if you take it too literally, and I think that's what is happening. I don't fear a whole lot, but I fear being afraid. And so with mortality, I'd also be afraid of being afraid before, if and when the end comes. And so, so that's really what it is for me, still begs the question, though, of why wasn't that present before? Why has it surfaced? Is it part of this shift, this awakening, whatever you want to call it? Is that what it is? A deep fear bubbling, so I don't know. It doesn't feel like it was there before. My dad used to all the time, when you get the warnings, he'd be like, everybody, get in the doorways, or get down in the basement, or get the candles, and I'd want to go on the porch and watch, And so I don't know. I really don't know at this point. Hey, there's some smart people out there. If you have any theories, feel free to chime in. Yeah, it's not death. It just seems to be a fear of being afraid, so the question is why. And I don't have an answer. And maybe some of you are the same way. Maybe we can figure it out together. Because fear really is what's driven mankind up to this point in the ways that we would consider tragedies or horrific things. Now, of course, everything has its purpose, but still, it's what's prevented us from going to the next step. I guess I should say would be more a better way to look at it. Because we give into it. And so I think that's one thing of where it's brought us to this point. And with all these changes that are happening or are going to happen, I think it is imperative that so we can experience them without all this heavy seriousness and dread for the wonders that they are. We can see opportunities or when they arise. We'll be in a better position to know what to do. And I think if it was our time to go, then it's better to be in a good place, you know, when you go than you know, wants to be. So maybe that is, now that I said that, maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's that last little bit of seeking. She's the mind, eh? And I'm not even one of those people that really swim in the mind. So I'm starting to have, the more I'm starting to see as I'm getting to a quieter place, the mind's, as Muji once said in one of his videos, the mind starts shaking. Ah! It's fighting for survival. And so now the mind seems to be coming up more than usual. It's not really loud, but still it's active. And I'm not a person that really, you know, up until recent years, lived in the mind, at least to the extent a lot of people do. So, but anyways, yeah, the mind. I guess it's something about the mind, but yeah, I guess it's a fear of, I think it's a fear of seeing horrific things. You know, I've never really felt in danger. No matter what the situation. Again, I don't really fear death. It's more of I feel for my fellow human beings and creatures, and I don't want to see them suffer. And now that I say that, you know, part of that I would say is love, is my true self. And part of that's probably selfish too, I don't know. Because really I'm talking about me. I don't want to see it. I mean, I don't want it to happen, but I definitely don't want to see it. Well, there's a selfishness there, obviously, but I really do want, I don't want any living thing to suffer. I want joy for everybody and everything, if that was possible. If it is possible, maybe it is. Maybe it isn't, I don't know. I don't know a lot of things, sitting down in the basement, cowering under a doorway, during what's probably a false tornado storm. If we were going to call it, if this was a story, what would we call it? The Boy Who Hid in the Cellar? That's what I'll call this video, The Boy Who Hid in the Cellar. Yeah, I think that's going to be the title. He left his poor kitties up there. But of course, if you have cats, you know there was no way for me to get... The cat carriers are down here. First of all, I don't know how practical it is keeping cats down here, you know, in cages. But second of all, the cages were down here, so, you know, trying to lug cats in cages and just trying to get them in the cages. And like I said, they have a much better chance on their own. They're very instinctual, so probably best to leave. You know, they'll find a place to cower if they need to. They're good at getting under things. So I'm kind of guilty, aren't I? I'm sure they'll be fine. But it is funny. I left them up here, sitting down here in the doorway. Yeah. Well, I think I'll charge the camera. And maybe we'll talk some more.